back. Wrist Check Podcast. We're back for the 9th season.
Woo!
Oh my God, this is episode 56. We have a special co-host this evening. Shout out to Dana Lee.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me again.
It's good to have you back. We've been gone for a few weeks. Season 8 rather was
Extra long.
extra long. Actually, we went super long. We didn't stop.
We did the whole another season.
Well, we did 3
Yeah.
back to back. We did 6, 7, and 8. We really didn't take a break.
Yeah.
And then we finally got the opportunity to, so we did, and it's been nice. But it's nice to be back. Our third member, Rashawn, is in London visiting some friends for a wedding. He'll be back next week. But it's good to see you guys. It's good to be back on the couch. I'm looking forward to talking about several topics tonight and catching up with you. But before we get into that, obviously, we have to have our honorary wrist check. Dana, you want to kick us off? What do you got? You got something special on the wrist tonight.
I do have something special. It is the new Seiko Rowing Blazers collab.
Ooh.
Yes, in purple. You know,
Shout
I
out
love a
to
good
Eric
purple.
Wind.
Yeah, shout out to Eric Wind. Shout out to Jack as well from
Yeah.
Rowing Blazers. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I mean, I love purple, so
Yeah.
best combination.
I think the NATO strap combo is pretty fire too.
Right? I thought so too.
Yeah.
The strap that comes with it?
Yeah, it's like a little dark green. It's got some yellow on it. It's just good.
No, it's definitely like channels like the Rowing Blazers aesthetic. It's like kind of preppy, kind of quirky. It's nice.
Yeah.
And that deep purple dial is fire.
It's so good. When the light hits it, it's just like, it's so good. I don't
It's
know.
one of those things like I saw the collection online and I was like, oh, this is cool. But like seeing the purple one in person is like, oh, this thing's fire.
Yeah, the purple
Yeah.
and the white dial were my
It's
favorites.
probably my favorite out of the 4. I will say the pink was surprising. Like when
Okay.
I saw the pink in person, well, when I first saw the photo of the pink, I was like, oh, like it's good. But then I think seeing it in person, like it really catches your eye.
Yeah. Shout out to Rowing Blazers. For those that don't know, Rowing Blazers is kind of like, it's a clothing company.
Yep.
And it's kind of, they have like a collegian aesthetic. I guess you could say it's like super preppy, but very casual. It's cool stuff. They have a store out here. I think it's on Rivington Street, right?
Yep.
Down in the Lower East Side. Ben, what are you rocking today?
In honor of the man who never intentionally repeats a watch, I'm
Yeah.
intentionally repeating a watch. First episode of the new season means all reliable. Green OP41.
There we go. It looks good.
Beating the out of it.
Yeah,
Haven't cleaned it. It's a hella dirty.
You got a lot of dings and
Bracelet's
scratches
a
in
little
that
sticky.
thing.
Yeah, there's dings all over the place. The bezel's beat, but that was the whole point.
It looks good.
We're going to keep it going.
Yeah, no, I kind of missed mine now that I look at you.
Uh-oh.
I didn't think I would. I'm like, damn, that's pretty good. It's nice. It looks good, man.
Yeah.
Respect.
There's some new stuff in the collection, but later on.
Okay, all right, we'll get to it. This evening, I am wearing an Old Faithful. I haven't worn this in a while. Wearing my vintage Tudor 7962 reference, Big Rose, roulette date wheel. You actually helped me pick out the strap. It's a brown lizard strap. Stainless steel case, gold indices, gold hour and minute hand, second hands. I love this thing. So 34 millimeters on the smaller side, but I'm skewing smaller these days.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I
making
can
room
tell.
for other things. Yeah. But no, I love this thing. This was a gift from my wife actually.
Shout out to Perry's wife.
Yes, though I sourced it during COVID and got an amazing deal on it. So the gift that keeps on giving.
It's probably one of my favorites that you have too.
It's a good one. This was, and it was featured in Hodinkee.
Ah, yes,
Shout
it
out
was.
to Hodinkee.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. But no, this is a good one, and I haven't worn it in a while, and I threw it on, and I was like, yeah, that's what I liked about this watch. So no, really good. All right, moving along. You guys have been up to a lot. I want to catch up with you for a bit. I know Dana, you've been hitting the scene with Tell the Time
Yep.
and really blossoming and blowing up.
Yeah.
You had a New York Times article that came out
I did.
some time ago. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. It's honestly so crazy to think about because I think a little over a year ago, we were sitting on this couch and I had like just kind of started
Yeah, I
getting things
remember.
going, which is like really crazy to now like be here and think about how far it's come. But it was great. I mean, it was an amazing conversation with a group of really great women. Shout out to them. Super awesome. It barely felt like an interview or anything. Like, I mean, we just sat down and talked for an hour and a half and that
That's
was really it. And I'm just, so grateful to be in the company of such awesome people.
Yeah, no, I checked out the article. It was great. I think it was for like during International Women's Month.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And they featured some other people that we know. They featured Katie Reed of Watches in Switzerland. I think JJ of Daily Grail was also featured in there. Shout out to JJ. She's been on the show.
Yeah. Isabella also from Philips.
That's right. Yeah, we know Isabel well.
Jane as
Shout out to
well. Just honestly a amazing group of women out there.
It's awesome that they were able to highlight you guys too.
Yeah.
For International Women's Month and just from what's happening in the watch industry and the watch community from ladies' perspective. I thought that was really awesome.
For sure.
And you recently came back from San Francisco. What was going on out there? I saw you hanging out with Jason.
Yeah. Jason had asked if I was interested in going out to wind up with him. And we work on a lot of stuff together just because we have, a lot of what we do kind of aligns super well. So
shout out to Jason Gong.
Yep. Shout out to Jason. He is one of the best out there. And yeah, went out to San Francisco. I always love an excuse to be on the West Coast.
Sure.
So, it was really great to be out there for just the weekend. And it's really cool seeing a lot of brands out there too. I think also getting to know the Bay Area collector community. So for a lot of my readers right now, most of them are obviously in New York, but my second largest base, which I was kind of surprised about, was SF.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so didn't expect that. I was thinking maybe like Miami or LA, just kind of given, know, what the markets look like. But SF is my second biggest market, so I figured I'd go out, check it out. Got to meet some of my subscribers and followers, which was super fun. Yeah, it was very surreal.
Isn't it always funny to meet people who are like actually paying attention to what you're doing?
Yeah. I mean,
like, oh my God, you actually like me?
Yeah, exactly. And they were amazing, super sweet, and just really nice to have a conversation with them. But yeah, it is a little weird because I'm just like me, like, one person kind of like, talking about the things that, we all love and just sharing my perspective on it. And it's just really nice to know one person.
It's nice to see that the work that you're putting in is actually really working and connecting with people.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
We'll have Jason on the show again sometime soon in the near future and kind of get the lowdown of what's catching up with him. Shout out to Jason and Complecto and everything you got going on, my man. I saw him recently at a Moser event. It was great to connect with him again.
Yeah.
Ben, you recently just got back. You were out in Geneva.
Yeah, baby's first Euro trip.
Baby's first Euro trip. Talk about it. What were you doing out in Geneva, Switzerland?
Visiting Patek's factory.
Ooh.
So I was there for a week, and it was intense. I don't want to say it was a lot of work because none of it felt like work.
Wow.
But it was all just fun. It was like you wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, you get on the bus at 7:30, you head to a factory and you're there till 5 o'clock. But then you like in between all that time, it's like we're eating lunch with like CEOs, CMOs, and like meeting all these people and like meeting like.
That's awesome.
I met people who were actually setting diamonds in watches.
That's crazy.
Setting gems in watches and like making dials and cases and like watching them do it.
Wow.
And they show you how to do it. And then they did an exercise where they tested us on how to do it.
Mm.
So I had to chamfer part of a bridge, and I was like, I don't know what chamfering means.
Yeah.
Right? But it's a form of polishing that's done at a 45-degree angle on the belt. And every single part of this bridge gets chamfered perfectly at a 45-degree angle.
It's crazy.
Wow.
So they let you do one, and then if you ruined it, they would put it under a loop, like a microscopic loop. They would zoom in and just toss it and say, here, start over.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So their factory is about like 20 minutes outside of Geneva. The salon's like right in the middle, next to where all the watch shops are at. And it's a little confusing when you first get there. So this is my first time in Geneva. And you see all the brands, like you see Rolex, you see Piaget, you see Chopard, you see all these signs everywhere on top of buildings.
Yeah.
So you think that it's like a salon or a factory or something. It's not. It's all marketing. They don't do billboards. They actually post the names of the brands on buildings. So it's all advertising.
So these aren't their buildings.
Right.
Well, that's crazy.
They're like, there could be residential, it could be offices, could be anything.
That's
but
so
it
funny.
would say like one of the biggest signs there is Chopard.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to do with Chopard there. It's a
It's just
Prada
on top
store.
of a-
It's a Prada store.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and it's like it was crazy. But the salon there, what I found out is that up until the 50s, that Patek salon was also their factory.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So they were making and selling watches in the same place.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
And when we went, it's the only place in the world where you can see every single Patek in the current catalog.
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome.
So before we went, they were like, "Right, tell us your expectations for the day when we go there." And somebody was like, "I want to see a 5316-500," and I was like, "Oh, me too."
Yeah.
And then like
we'll
10,
have to toss a picture up for those.
10 minutes, and that was my pick for Watches and Wonders. It was like
Yeah.
the best watch, right? 10 minutes into it, we meet one of like the head watchmakers, and he's like talking to us. He's like, "Oh wait, before you go," and he like walks away and comes back with a tray with a piece of paper on it, and it's 2-minute repeaters, and one of them's the new one.
That's
and
crazy.
everyone stood up, and we were like, "What the like? Where did that come from?"
Yeah.
It was that, and it was that new two-tone 6300.
That's crazy.
And
Wow.
seeing one of those watches was crazy.
Yeah.
It's big. It's like a hockey puck. It's crazy.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it's like it's not as thick as you would think it is, but it's wide.
yeah.
So definitely not for everybody. But I mean, the whole experience, we were there, and especially after going to the Dow factory, we were like, Patek should charge you more for watches.
Wow.
It was insane. The Dow factory is 2 hours away from the city in like the mountains.
Yeah.
The guy, so there's one guy who does all the wood marquetry dials.
Okay.
He does it out of his house because all the equipment specialized, and Patek can't do it in the factory.
That's crazy.
Oh, wow.
You can look out of the window in the factory and see his home. It's across the street.
It's
Oh,
wild.
He wanted to live that close to the factory.
that's crazy.
So if he ever needed to be there, he could be there.
How long do like what's the average lifespan of like a watchmaker's career at Patek?
Forever.
Yeah.
The,
It's just
the
kinda
guy
like-
who invented the annual calendar for them in 1996 still works there. I met him.
That's wild.
Yeah. We had a day where we spent it with like R&D, and he was the first person we met.
That's crazy.
So he
Wow.
invented that movement when he was fresh out of watchmaking school. So early 20s, he's still there. And that was in 96.
That's funny. So like I mean, you know this, like over here in the States, and it's funny because I was talking to someone recently who didn't even realize that like Patek was like a family-owned business. Patek seems much larger than I assumed.
Yeah, I mean, they're larger than
it is.
life.
You're right, but like how like I'm trying to like get a sense of like how did reality sort of set in?
I mean, it
when you
feels
were
like a
there?
family. Like we were there, and like obviously these people don't know us from a hole in the wall.
Sure.
We were walking through, see people in the hallway. Everybody said hi. Everybody wanted to talk to you.
Because it's
And-
crazy to like be a fan
Yeah.
of this brand and like you see these watches, you know, released year after year, what they do with novelties, and then you go and you meet the people that are responsible.
Yeah, and meeting those people, it's like it doesn't feel like a job for them. Like we were asking them questions, and they
Yeah.
were like super eager and like happy to answer them. They were like smiling that we wanted to know more.
That's awesome.
And like we were like trying to take pictures with them because they were like celebrities to us, and
Yeah.
they couldn't believe it. Like one of the guys.
That's what I'm
So
talking about.
we met this guy, and I'm gonna butcher his name because it's very European, so I'm not even gonna try. But like when you think of a watchmaker, like what do you think?
You think like the old guy with like
Right.
a lab coat.
Right.
Sure.
So many women there.
Wow.
So many younger people there.
wow.
So many people of all ethnicities, all skin colors.
Wow.
And we met this one guy who we really made feel like a rock star.
Okay.
This dude tattoos from his head to toe. I'm talking like literally on his head to toe.
Wow.
Mohawk, bleach blonde, gauges like the size of a fist. And he was a gem setter.
Wow.
And
Oh, wow.
we were like, he's at his bench, and we did a workshop all about gem setting. So the workshop was just about this guy doing random setting on the 7118 case. So he was setting diamonds into the bezel. And that lasted for like 20 minutes. And then we were like, all right, like whatever, like we're kind of over it.
Yeah.
Like we were just quiet and watching him
Yeah.
go in a straight line. And like literally like I was falling asleep.
Yeah.
So that was done. And then as we're leaving, we see this guy setting emeralds into a dial. And we were like, what's going on over there?
Wow.
So like 5 of us walked over, and he like looks up and like starts to smile. And he like picks up the dial, and we start looking at it, and we just start watching him set it. And he's invisibly setting emeralds into a dial. And
Oh,
when we
wow.
found out about how Patek does their invisible settings, that is done on the rail. So they facet every single stone on the bottom so they can slide in.
oh wow.
And if you know anything about gems, emeralds are the most fragile,
Yeah,
like
they're very
brittle
sensitive.
thing there is.
Yeah.
That's why they're so expensive. So setting them in general is already a risk. You're cracking them all the time and you're losing material. But then they're fastening them on the bottom and then setting it.
That's crazy.
So the level of difficulty is crazy. One of the guys who was there, he works for a big time jeweler in Ohio, and he was like, "This is insane." He was like, "I love this man," and he like took a photo with him, and they could not stop laughing. They like couldn't believe it.
That's awesome.
And like I met the CMO of the company, and he was like, "You see how everybody's like, people here like welcome this, like, and that comes from the top. That culture comes from the Stearns."
Wow.
And that it's
so it's
all
like
from
this
them.
true family.
Yeah, 100%.
business.
They all feel like it, and like I'm sure. I mean, it's a job. There's good days and bad days. But
Sure.
when we were there, every day seemed to be a good day, and that was the point that they were trying to make.
It's pretty awesome. So, you being a fan of Patek.
Well, I was a fanboy the whole time.
Yeah.
Every time I met someone who was actually like working on a watch, I was like, I want to know why they do that.
Did
like,
it
how
sort
they do
of,
that.
do you feel like you're even more invested?
Yeah,
after
for
visiting?
sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like going to any factory of a brand can
Mm-hmm.
make you feel like that, but I don't think anything's going to be like Patek. Some people might get close. Some people could do it in a different way, but just being at Patek was nuts.
It's awesome. I'm glad you got to
Yeah,
experience
especially
that,
with a brand like that. It was crazy.
That's pretty incredible.
10 out of 10 recommended. Also, as a client, you can do it. While we were there were random clients in there as groups.
Oh wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like just
Awesome.
visiting. You can schedule it.
Did you get to go to the museum as well?
We went to the museum. They were pretty strict. Like they don't let anybody take photos or anything like that. But the
Yeah.
museum's insane.
Yeah.
There's a whole floor dedicated to stuff that's not Patek watches, and it's called like the historical collection.
Huh.
And it's stuff that the Stern family has just purchased over the years because of their admiration for it.
Wow.
So there's like rooms just full of enamel watches and automatons, like
crazy.
specifically birdcage automatons.
Oh wow.
There's one that's probably as wide as this table in circumference,
Yeah.
probably as tall as one of us are, and the bottom of it is an enamel clock. You're supposed to hang it.
That's
Oh, wow.
crazy.
It is fucking nuts, and it's all gold, and they work. Like everything in there is working clock.
Damn.
And then they had stuff like that, and then on the flip side, they showed us what the smallest clock in the whole collection was,
Yeah.
and it was a pocket watch that was the size of a penny,
It's wild.
mechanical.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
So it was crazy.
Shout out to Geneva. and,
Shout out to
Yeah.
Patek
Tech
visit.
Facts.
It's a whole nother experience. Moving along, this week has been an interesting week. It's been an interesting time in watches in general since Watches of Wonders. But this week in particular, we saw something interesting.
Yeah, this week.
One of the things I wanted to talk about was there was a 4-digit Milgauss
Mhm.
that went up for auction
My
at
favorite
at
Rolex
Phillips.
ever.
So if you've been watching the show, if you've been listening, you know that way back when we were really, really big critics of Rolex, and our love and appreciation for them has grown as we've gotten lucky enough to acquire some of our own. But Ben has still been quite the critic of the brand. Love-hate relationship.
Yeah,
Mostly
I mean,
love.
Yeah,
Mostly love. But this is your favorite watch.
yeah.
And it went up for auction, and it recently sold. This was a mint condition
Yeah, it was pretty perfect.
Milgauss that sold for $2.5 million. And though, yes, I am surprised that it got that high, because I think the other two that went up for auction ended up selling like the high 300s. This one doubled the estimate, more than doubled the estimate. I think this one was because of its rarity and the condition and all the collateral that it came with was valued at 1.1, sold for 2.5. But I was surprised by who purchased it.
Yeah, this is Rolex.
Yeah. What did you guys think about this?
I mean, that's not a secret that brands do that, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact they're willing to spend $2 million on it is a little nuts.
That was
But
kind of surprising.
Whatever it takes.
But you don't hear too often about Rolex buying their own pieces.
Nah,
at
but like
auction.
if you're there, you know.
Well, I know that, but at 2.5 million, that's kind of crazy. And so, but what happened with this was interesting. It was a bidding war.
Yeah.
It was between them and one other guy who was like a crazy Rolex collector. I think he's here in the U.S. And he was literally bidding against Rolex.
I don't know. If I had that kind of money, I would have been like, you ain't winning this.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of crazy. So for those that don't know, the Milgauss was this particular model was from 1958.
Yep.
This was a watch that was commissioned by CERN out in Geneva, and was developed for scientists to withstand electromagnetic fields. And so a lot of people dub this as like the mad scientist watch. And what's cool about it is it's kind of a quirky watch.
Yeah.
Like it's got that lightning
It has a lightning ball hand. It has a rotatable
It's kind of
bezel
funny.
for
This
whatever
one
reason.
is really cool because it mirrors the it kind of looks like the first sub,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Well,
I
the
guess,
bezel rotates for what?
yeah, I know.
Red triangle for what?
I mean, it's egg timer.
Yeah, sure.
And what's funny is that the modern milk house was recently discontinued.
Mhm.
But 2.5 million, my
Yeah,
God.
that's a lot.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
For a
I mean,
Rolex.
it's Rolex. Well, for a Rolex, but Rolex is buying.
It's wild.
Maybe they didn't have them in the archives.
That's what I was thinking. So I was trying to think of reasons like, what could it be that possessed them to like spend this money on this watch?
Trying to remake it.
Right?
Either remake it, they didn't have
Yeah.
them in the archives, or whatever they had was shit.
Does Rolex have a museum?
Yeah, but it's not public.
Oh, really?
Nothing Rolex has in public. So when I was at Patek, you could see the Rolex factory like from the window, like they're that close to each other.
Yeah.
I could skip a stone from one to the other.
Wow.
And the whole joke was that, like, Pateks are, a lot of hand making and hand finishing, where Rolex is a lot of machining.
Hmm.
So when we were going lunch and stuff, or like we were just walking around, like going to workshops, there's these very big windows everywhere. There's a bunch of natural light in these factories.
Hmm.
So you can always look out and see some part of the other building. And every time we would look out, we would be like, yo, it's like all these people at Rolex are just like outside smoking cigarettes. So the joke was that like, yeah, that's because they don't actually make watches.
Yo, wow.
And it was like they press a button, the machine does the work, and Joe Schmo leaves for 8
They take a
hours,
smoke
comes
break.
back, presses a button, and clocks out. And they're done for the day.
It's a nice gig.
Yeah, right? So, I mean, yeah.
The thought did cross my mind. Like, okay, perhaps are they planning on bringing back the Milgauss at some point?
I think
Or-
eventually they have to.
Yeah.
But it's also like the Air King had the same movement.
Yeah, I know.
So if they're gonna remake one, they're gonna remake the other. It's just how crazy they're gonna get with it. Like,
Yeah.
Is it gonna be as simple as just change the size again?
I mean,
and
I
add crown guards?
wouldn't have thought anything of it prior to the release that they had recently in Watches and Wonders,
Yeah.
which was a little left for them
Yeah.
in terms of like an entire collection, like everything from like the Celebrations piece to the 1908 to like an open case back Daytona.
Yeah.
It was a little strange. So it's like, oh, you guys are playing around in the sandbox a little bit more than you used to.
Which makes me think, why would they bring back a Milgauss? So that's not a play around the sandbox watch.
It's not, but you spend 2.5 million on it.
Maybe they just need one that bad.
Okay.
It's the third one to come up in
We
the
don't
auction.
got
They're
this
like,
one
yo,
in
we
the,
gotta have
in the
it.
museum, guys. We got.
Yo, we missed out on the first
come up
two.
with
Yeah.
some coin.
We thought 300 was too much 10 years ago. We might as well do it now.
Kind of wild. Kind of wild.
It is a handsome watch, though.
It is.
No, it's nice.
It's
I
a
mean, it's
banger.
got that really cool like honeycomb dial
Yeah.
in black. You got the bezel is fire. And, like, you
Yeah,
don't need
riveted
it.
bracelet. It's good.
And when you see pictures of this watch, and we'll show it too. I mean, this was like mint
Yeah.
condition.
Yeah.
Like whoever had this watch just did not wear it. They
Yeah.
locked it up in the safe.
They're waiting for the day.
2.5. Respect. Sticking with Rolex, but moving along. A couple of weeks back, there was a release by a company whom we admire very much, Artisans de Genève. And if you know their work, they customize timepieces. Predominantly Rolex, it seems. The way that it works is, and so this is like, Artisans de Genève is like a real atelier. Like, not customization, I would say, in terms of like what we're used to with what we see here in terms of like aftermarket.
Yeah.
Like real artisans, like real watchmakers, sometimes enhancing movements.
Well, usually always.
Usually
yeah.
always. Completely redoing casework. Sometimes even completely rebuilding a
Yeah.
watch. But they do custom work, and then they'll come up with the design, and sometimes it can be commissions. Other times it can be something that they come up with, and they'll open it up to clients and fans, and you supply the reference.
Or they'll buy it for you if you
Or
pay a
they'll
premium.
Yeah.
they'll do that for you as well. So I thought this one was interesting because I happen to be a fan of a certain film. So they got together with this gentleman, Frank Abagnale, which I thought was pretty funny. And for those that don't know, Frank Abagnale is he's famous to me because of the Steven Spielberg film Catch Me If You Can,
Yep.
which is a 2002 film with Leonardo DiCaprio about this young kid that leaves home, runs away from home, and ends up cashing fraudulent checks to support himself. Poses as a pilot, even poses as a doctor, and like lives all of these like multiple lives, just
As a
because his
kid.
life was so boring
Yeah.
and mundane. And this is
Making
based
bread,
off
though.
a true story. He made a lot of money.
Yeah.
He made a lot of money. Got in trouble with the FBI. Ended up getting arrested, and was then hired by the FBI and has worked with them ever since, helping them
True
identify.
white-collar crime.
Yeah, true. Helping them sort of, get a leg up on fraudsters and some of the schemes and gimmicks that they would do. So I thought this was interesting because they took and he provided them with his GMT, a GMT Master 2, modern GMT. I forget which reference his was exactly. His was a little beat, and they released this video where they talk about like when he decided that he was going to pose as a pilot, and he saw all the pilots wearing Rolex GMT Masters. What's cool about this is that they take a modern GMT and transform it into
A vintage albino.
a vintage
Yeah.
6542
Yeah.
albino GMT Master.
With a little bit of that patina on there
the
too.
middle. It's like a
Crazy.
tropical albino.
Yeah.
guy.
So when I first saw this watch, I fell in love with it. I thought it was fire.
I
mean,
think so too.
It's
I mean,
it's-
albino GMT is already
Already
like a
crazy.
unicorn, right? Like,
Yeah.
as far as we know, there's one.
yeah, it's true.
So the fact that
We've
I
only
mean,
ever seen one in the wild.
yeah. So they took that and were like, we're gonna make it a little different.
And make it like
Yeah.
patina.
Like if this
Yeah.
was a thing that people actually wore in the 60s and 70s, how would it look
this
now?
is how, yeah.
And that's what they went for.
I
It
thought that
works.
was so awesome.
The bezel's even nicer.
Yeah, so then they make like their own like
Bakelite.
Bakelite bezel.
Yeah, a working one too, because all the ones that are out there, like most, they don't
They're
work
cheap, they're
anymore.
crap.
Does
Yeah.
it glow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So I was on Instagram a few weeks back, and because I'm looking at the watch, and then I realized, and I was like, oh man, where the hell are the crown guards?
Yeah. There are no crown guards.
There are no crown guards. So they tried to make like into a true like 6542, and they posted some stuff in their stories, and I asked them about it. I'm like, what happened? Like I'm thinking like, did you guys recreate your own case?
They shave them down.
They shaved them down.
They do it with the
Completely shaved
Daytonas
them
also.
down.
When they make those like that honey gold Daytona.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was a modern Daytona.
Well, not
that
even
they
shaved.
crank
They
guards down.
completely shaved it off.
Yeah, well, they polish it off. Yeah,
It's
basically. yeah.
wild.
Yeah. Wow.
Just get it all the way down in the case.
Recreated an entire new bracelet.
Mhm.
It was sick.
Yeah, the way they do it is crazy.
Yeah.
You would think it's an entirely different watch to begin with.
Yeah. They redid the date wheel, all the hands painted.
Yeah.
It was pretty sick.
I feel like it's also kind of nice to have, like, you don't, obviously when you get the vintage pieces, like it's never going to be like the condition it was like when
Yeah.
it was sold. And this is kind of like the closest thing you can get to that, right? Like
Yeah.
if you were, buying a
I mean,
GMT.
Especially
in
an
that era.
albino dial.
But also,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
imagine buying just any vintage GMT and, like, quote unquote, restoring it.
Yeah.
You're losing money.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
And with this, that's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
And you can wear it every single day
Yeah.
and not worry
Yeah.
about
You
it.
don't have to worry about it. Like, don't have to worry about humidity or any of that. Like,
Yeah.
it's ready to go.
because it's still a modern Rolex, but it's an
Just
homage
looks old,
to.
Yeah.
And I think that's such like a cool idea that they did with this one was like they because usually they'll just completely create something new. Sometimes they'll like hint at the past, like even with the honeycomb, it kind of channels like Paul Newman Daytona. a
Yeah.
little bit, right?
With the shaved crown guards, the open
Right,
portions of the case.
but this one was like a real homage to a very specific period, a very specific story, and a very specific reference. Like, and what's funny about it is as elusive as the character Frank is as elusive as this watch is. Because
How many of them are they making?
that
Or is
I
it just the
don't know.
one?
No, it's not just the one. I think you can get your hands on this.
You think there's a hater out there like, yo, they're appropriating vintage
Of
Rolex
course.
culture?
Of course, you know there's people in the channel like fake Rolex.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Frank Abagnale, fed.
He's a snitch.
It's a snitch.
Certified snitch.
Snitch watch. GMT Master Snitch.
GMT Master 6'9".
Oh, facts. There we go. Yeah,
Oh my
but they
God.
did a good job, and Artisans de Genève, I feel like is, though they have a name, it's pieces and stories like this. It was the first time I've ever seen them really do something like this, where it was like a story,
Yeah.
and then they created like this whole video, and they call it the Uncatchable Watch.
Yeah.
But
It
I
makes
thought
sense.
Yeah.
no, it makes sense. I thought it was really cool, and it gets the name out there, and so it's got people talking again about what it means to either restore or customize a watch.
I think it's his
Never-
first GMT also.
I don't know. It might be their first public one, but
They've
I know
done a
that
sub,
they've
they've
done
done
one of ones
Daytonas.
for people. They interestingly enough, they posted recently a Batman that they redid with like all of this like faux patina on it, and it's kind of fire.
I didn't see that.
It's kind of dope. We'll share a picture or a video of that piece, but that was kind of fire. Yeah. Well, shouts out to Artisans de Genève.
Send one to the show.
Facts.
Let me wear one.
We have a connect.
We do.
We have a connect. Someone who was talking to them recently, and who plugged us to them, and hopefully, when they come stateside, we'll get them on.
We just go to them.
I'm down for that too.
Be even better.
Yeah. Let me get a watch.
I'll take you to Protect Factor.
Moving along, something I really did want to talk about, and the reason. So, before we get to it, you guys know I'm long-winded. I'll try to get through it as best as I can. But we posted a picture on the IG page of this watch release, the Christopher Ward London 12. And things got kind of heated in the comment
Yeah, it was
section. We had a couple of guys going at it, and watch people can be
Oh,
kind
I'm
of
about to go
brutal.
look at the comment.
We were talking about this.
I remember sending a screenshot in the chat at like 1 a.m.
Yeah,
Like, what the
it
going
was
on?
it was like so they released the Christopher Ward London is a cool like micro brand.
Yeah, I bought a watch from him.
Yeah, so you bought the you got a Bel Canto.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for it. though.
Those are
Um,
awesome, by the way.
The Bel Canto is
Amazing.
Is fire.
Checked it out in
Our people
person.
Most of the stuff
like-
they've done, I mean,
insane.
all of it bangs.
Yeah.
It's hot. But there was some debate whether or not I think this gentleman was in the comment section, and he was like, this is an homage brand.
Yeah.
And I never really looked at Christopher Ward London like that because it never really clicked for me, like that they were like an homage brand. But when he mentioned that and like hearing his points,
Did you look back at everything I was saying?
I looked
Yeah.
back at everything and I was like, oh, you might be onto something. But what's cool about them is that they kind of like flip it. It's like it's never really like an homage to like something of the past. It's kind of like current, but they don't acknowledge.
But they've also made like so many different things where it's like, can you call this an homage brand?
You can.
It's not a WMT watch.
It's not a WMT. No.
That's
no.
crazy.
So in the comment section, we'll get to the 12, but in the comment section, one of the guys brought up that GMT that they did, and this
from the C63. I'm reading
the
it right now.
C63, and he goes,
It looks exactly like Grand Seiko SBG and 003, which before seeing this comment, I agreed to that.
it does,
I was like, oh, this is like a Seiko GMT.
which also kind of channels like Explorer 2.
Well, he goes on. His name is LWB 2017.
Shout out to LW.
He says,
he was at the Moser event.
I know. He says the Bel Canto is heavily influenced by the MB&F legacy, Beauvais and Breguet. How about the Trident C65 GMT? Yeah, that's also original. If you've never seen a 1655 Explorer,
Spicy.
homage is a hard word to take in, but that's what they will always be. Today's release just proved it.
Woo! So if you've seen the Christopher Ward London 12, it kind of does resemble a Chapek Antarctic.
Yeah.
But what I will say about Christopher Ward is that they do it kind of really good. Like when I saw the 12 release, I was like, it's kind of fire.
Dial colors too.
Dial colors are kind of fire. Watches offered in stainless and titanium.
Yeah.
So I will say J. Ben F had a good rebuttal.
What did he say again?
He said, I can't help but think that what we do in the watch world is hold up a few watches as iconic that are really just inaccessible to most people.
Mm-hmm.
When a newer brand comes along as is influence, we call it an homage. But we have to make the distinction between influence and a copy. I own a C63 GMT with a gray sapphire dial that looks like nothing else out there. Do other versions look like an Aquaterra or a Grand Seiko? Sure, but if you look across the brand, I think you're dealing with influence and not homage.
So I looked up that watch that he mentioned.
What's it look like?
It looks like Grand Seiko. To me. So for those who are, not familiar. So the cool thing about this watch is the Chapek Antarctique is an incredibly rare watch to get. Chapek makes awesome timepieces. They have incredible movements. For those that have never heard of them, the brand is significant because it was founded by Francois Chapek, who co-founded Patek.
Mm-hmm.
And when Patek was initially founded in, 1839.
Yeah.
It was Patek and Chapek.
Chapek and C.
Patek, Chapek, and Chi. And so the brand has since been revived, and the Antarctique
someone
is like,
bought the name and revived the brand.
yeah, and it's like their flagship,
Yeah.
their flagship piece.
They make some bangers though with that.
No,
watch.
they do, and
There's like a 3-year wait for the osmium though.
yeah, you can't
And like
can't get them.
who's trying to make a watch out of osmium?
Yeah, it's
No
crazy.
one.
Yeah,
Osmium is the densest metal on Earth, and it's the most expensive.
they released a
It's
new
rarer
one
than
too,
platinum.
in like which was I thought was interesting. It was like the Miami Hurricane colors.
Really?
Yeah, green dial, orange seconds. Have you seen
yeah,
this?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not-
It's kind of fire,
I'm not feeling that.
but like fire bracelet,
There's a pink one.
dial texture, crazy. But then when you put it side by side with the Christopher Ward London 12, it's almost it's obviously influenced by this watch. But what's funny is when you visit the website and you start reading about it, they have this whole thing that they do on like Genta and his design influence with like integrated steel sports watches. And they mentioned AP and they mentioned Patek, but there's no mention whatsoever of Chapek, which I was like, you guys are something else. It's pretty good.
I think the one thing for Christopher Ward that I really like what they do just in general for the brand is making a lot of things that otherwise wouldn't be accessible to many people. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, like, the Bel Canto, for example, like
It's a
where
$3,000 hour striker.
right, like where are you going to
Crazy.
get that, right? And I think that there's something at least when I went to Wind Up and I met some of the team and got to see some of their watches, like they really do take pride in that. And I do appreciate it because it's, any other, just like a normal person or even someone who's just getting into watches, like you're not, I don't think you would be like going off the street and just like picking
You
up
all
a
want
Royal
a Patek,
Oak
you'd
or
be
like a
surprised.
Patek or something
Yeah,
like
you'd be
that,
surprised.
You'd be surprised. Did you try on a Bel Canto while you were there?
I did. I really
Is it
like
good?
it.
It's awesome.
I like it. It's really
So
comfortable.
what's cool though is, to your point, they do make things accessible that would normally be outside of, the realm of what people had access to. But we know some like really heavy hitter like watch collectors that
You
are
have
actually
them.
really big fans of Christopher
Yeah.
Ward London.
But I think that's because, again, they make a lot of things that are different.
They
Yeah.
do,
Right?
yes.
Like, like you have a brand like WMT where it's like, who's really buying it?
Well, WNT is like clear.
They're like
knockoffs.
trolling.
Yeah.
They're trolling.
But the Christopher Lloyd London Belcanto is an obvious hit.
Yep.
Yeah.
That moon
Like
phase.
that
one
is
they
fire.
did
And I'm
was
not gonna
good.
lie, like even though this watch like clearly channels Chapek, it's kind of hot. I kind of like it.
But is it hot because it looks like a Chapek, or is it hot because it's hot?
So it's hot because it's hot. I didn't. So it took me a minute to like really look at it, and I was like, I know this from somewhere.
Yeah.
But like the design of the watch, I was like, nah, this is fire. I was like, I gotta get behind this. And then the longer I sat with it, and I was like, where do I know you from? It's like seeing someone you haven't seen in a while, or like seeing someone that looks like a celebrity. It's like, I know you from somewhere. And it's like, I'm like, Chapek. And then I looked up the Antarctique, and I'm like, yes, this is it. From the bracelet
Yeah.
to the dial to the placement of like the
For
the
1/10
date.
the price.
I bet.
Yeah.
$1,200 for the all steel.
Give me
Yeah.
not even
18
1/10. It's like 1/20th the
titanium?
price.
Yeah.
I was like, yo,
You about to get a titanium one?
maybe.
I'll get one.
And they
one.
got it on strap.
I'll get one on
which
the
is-
strap.
Rubber straps kind of fire.
We'll swap. Get a bracelet. I'll get a strap.
I'm not mad at them.
What dial?
LWB is, but
It's okay. I mean,
that
it's
blue
opinions.
dial is crazy. They're both blue dials. They have like that dark
That
ice
greenish
blue
one,
one
yeah.
and then that
Yep.
light blue one. But it's crazy.
They
What
also
do you-
have purple.
The purple one is fire too.
So I wanted the purple Belcanto, and I was like, nah, the Sam is the move.
There, you know what?
Ice blue is crazy too. Though.
Yeah, no. So the ice blue one in person, actually, look, I love purple, but that ice
You
blue
got
one
to try
was,
all of them on.
yeah, they were all there. The ice blue one is amazing.
And what
'cause
was the
in
best dial color in person?
ice blue?
Yeah.
Because it turns gray in some lighting, so it's like it's just like this, like
Did you see it on strap or on bracelet?
it's on a strap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So when I saw the original first release, I saw it on bracelet. The bracelet's not bad. It kind of resembles an oyster
good.
bracelet. It's
I'm
not. It's not. They're not.
Yeah, but I know
reinventing
you know it's
anything.
not going to be good.
No, but the. Yeah, I mean, you could get it on a bracelet. You're gonna put a new strap on it anyway.
Yeah.
So but it's pretty fire. I like the Belcanto.
Yeah, I can't wait to get mine in October.
I should have ordered one.
Yeah, you got
oh yeah.
someone in
The wait list is a little bit long now, is what
Now
I
it
was
is.
told.
Well, I'm sure we got a plug someplace.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Were they selling them in Wind Up?
No, because of that wait list.
Why
Or I
didn't you
think
take
you
one? Why didn't you
probably
take one?
could have. You
Why don't you just
probably
bring
could have
one
like
home?
told. Just
I'll
take
take
it and
it
run
home.
fast.
I'm about to
Zach,
ride on
if you're
this.
listening, I know you got the plug, so I will be contacting you later this week. Moving along, we're nearly halfway through the year,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Feels like 2023 just started.
I remember New Year's Eve and day very clearly.
Facts. We were together.
We were
Yeah. I'm curious. We've seen a lot of watches this far. We just got through Watches and Wonders about 2 months ago. Still new watch releases coming through. There's more stuff dropping this summer. But so far of 2023, what's your favorite?
Am I going first?
One of you.
Mine is still the 5316.
5316 is
It's
still that's
it's
your
still
favorite
the
watch
clear
release.
cut. I don't think anything's topping it this year.
Okay.
Anything. There's been some really good stuff.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, the rest of really good stuff is from really small independent brands,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the, I'll show it later. Like, a word on the show. I bought a Zellos.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shout
Or
out
I
to
had
Zellos.
I had help getting a Zellos, I should say.
Nice.
And like a sub $500 dive watch
That's dope.
with a hammered dial.
Oh,
Banger.
I know the one you're talking about.
Banger.
That's dope.
I just need to put it on the strap. But yeah, it's a banger.
Yeah.
I'm getting a rubber strap for that.
Okay, tight.
And
You gonna get a
that's-
Zellos rubber strap?
No. I'm gonna
Okay.
get a tropical rubber strap.
Okay.
I think their rubber straps are made from tropical strap anyway.
Sure.
So it's whatever.
Okay. Fire.
But that's the plan.
Okay.
But like a lot of it has been like really small independent brands.
Yeah.
Rashawn was in London and he sent us a photo of that MB&F. And
That
it's
MB&F
like,
is crazy.
yeah, that's the
That
stuff you
thing's
should be looking
nuts.
at.
Yeah.
Most things from Watches and Wonders were kind of whack unless it was like absurd. Like all those crazy Cartiers, those
Yeah.
are bangers. Everything else is whatever.
Yeah. What about
Patek?
you?
Hard to pick a watch, but a brand that I've loved for a while, but I feel like doesn't get nearly as much appreciation as it should. Chanel.
Okay.
Because, so I have like an emotional connection to Chanel. My mom bought one of the first watches that they released back in the 80s, the Premiere. And so she gave that to me. And obviously, like, as I normally do, started learning about kind of like Chanel's watchmaking history. And it's very, like, their watchmaking, like, arm is very serious. Like, they've made some incredible pieces throughout the years. Like, the J12 was like an all ceramic watch.
A banger.
Like, they did ceramic before ceramic became cool, right? Like, thinking about that. And even some of their Watches and Wonders pieces, it's just like that, like, interstellar looking one where it's like, you know, the J12, but it's like got diamonds. It's almost like pixelated.
So that's, we were going to talk about like hot takes. That was going to be mine.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That one with the diamonds.
Pixelated one. Yeah. That thing is kind of crazy.
That shit is hot.
Right?
I rock that all day.
Okay, see, we had the same exact hot take.
That was a hot take?
Yeah, that was my hot take.
I wear it all day with the diamonds. They made it with half of it's white, but then the diamonds are the one.
Yeah.
We got to toss the picture of that up. That's crazy.
That's the one.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, Chanel, like I feel like they're just in general like very underappreciated for their watches, because when you think of them, you think like fashion, their bags.
So
like
it's funny that you say that, because I was talking to someone the other day and I was like, "Yo, fashion watches are coming back," and my favorite watch so far. And I was thinking about this because when we were talking about what we wanted to do for this episode, I was like, "Damn, what is my favorite?" And there was a watch. Maybe you'll remember once I mentioned it, but I remember when I saw it and I sent it to the group chat, and I was like, "Yo, this is kind of hot," and it wasn't crazy priced. It could also be a hot take, but I got a hot take that's hotter than this take.
But you gotta give this one first. What was the brand?
The Hermes Mono Pusher.
I don't remember.
The orange strap.
I don't remember.
Fire.
Hermes makes a good watch though.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'd be a hot take.
808 Mono Pusher.
I don't think that's a hot take.
Respect.
They make a good watch.
Yeah.
I love this watch. I sent it to the group chat. We'll toss a picture up. I'll share a picture with you. But it's their like sports watch, and it's like true sports watch. Comes on an orange rubber strap, which is perfect because it's Hermes. And there's something about it that kind of feels like a 5968A, but it's not a 5968A.
Yeah, we know.
And I'm like, yo, if I wanted that, but I didn't get that, this is
if
pretty
you want
good.
a 5968A, nothing's gonna make up for it.
No, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
You say that now.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's pretty good. So that was my pick so far for the year. I really like this watch. I keep coming back to it because I found myself when I was getting lunch with friends, we were talking about watches. I brought it up. The other day I was talking to someone, we were talking about fashion watches. And I was like, "Have you seen this watch?" And they're like, "No, I didn't even know this thing came out."
Yeah.
I showed them. I was like, "Yo, this thing's kind of hot." But it's like a Mono Pusher chrono from Hermes.
I don't remember you saying
Crazy. I'll share it with you.
that. I feel like I would have clowned you for that.
I think you liked it.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
If I come back with that watch.
Don't buy that shit.
Oh man.
What's the hotter hot take?
So the hotter hot take, which got ripped this week in like watch blogs. I kind of dig the Hublot Nespresso Green Big
I don't
Bang.
think it's bad either.
I think it's kind of fire.
I think the collab is very strange.
The collab is weird, but I don't care.
But like
the
I don't
watch
know.
is kind of hot.
It's a little gimmicky. The collab's a little gimmicky.
I don't even care. The watch is kind of hot.
It's hot because it's green.
It's fire. That's what I was
The
gonna
strap
say.
is nice.
The strap is crazy, but the strap is made from recycled
Yeah.
espresso
coffee
pods.
beans.
But when I
This is
saw
such a
it,
game.
and everyone was like ripping, they were like, I saw an article, it was like, Hublot's finished. And
I saw
it, and
some.
I
I
was
saw it was like don't wear it in the rain or something like that.
yeah.
The strap just dissolve on it.
But I saw it and I was like, nah, this shit is kind of hot. I kind of banged with the Big
Put it
Bang.
in some water and coffee come out.
That's a plus.
No, it's not.
But I thought it was kind of, but this thing, it was getting hate everywhere.
Yeah, so
I thought it was kind of fire. It's got an
all the
espresso
comments were
logo on the
negative.
crown, which I'm not crazy about, but at the same time, it's like the perfect shade of green. I thought the watch was fire.
Okay, sure.
Just me.
You're on an island with that.
You know
one.
what it is though? I think facts. Fine. I'll be on my island. What I will say is though, I think, from our last shoot when we got to hang out with
You appreciate it
Maxime,
more. Yeah.
I definitely appreciate Hublot a little bit more. like being around it, I'm like, yo, it's kind of hot.
It is.
They
The
got
stuff that
some
they
fire.
do great.
They really do. And like the hate that they get, I feel like it's just
All
so
of Maxine's
unwarranted.
watches are fire. The
They're
Orlinski's are
dope.
fire. The Sapphire fire.
But there's something about it, and it's funny because like even Maxime and his design philosophy, it mirrors like two complete opposites, right? Like maximalism and like minimalism. And that's what Hublot does, I think, really well. Like just going like completely like, uniform. So we're gonna do watch in like one color. But then like it's still kind of absurd.
Well, when they did that Millennial Pink Big Bang, it lasted 5 seconds before it sold out.
But their watches kind
Samuel
of
Ross's
feel,
watch?
Yeah, and shout out to
Disappeared.
Samuel Ross because I spoke to him recently.
Yes, it disappeared.
See you soon.
Facts.
But when I started to really look at it, I was like, damn, they kind of feel like art pieces.
Mhm.
Like they feel like collectibles. They feel like Pokemon cards. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but they cost as much as a Pokemon card at auction, so yeah.
Facts. Shout out to Hublot. It's my hot take. Okay.
Shout out to Hublot.
My other favorite watch. So I love the H08 Hermes, but I got to visit Patek New York recently and check out novelties, and I have to say this: shout out to Patek because the novelty group that they released at Watches and Wonders. I think we know a lot of people loved it, hated it. Feels like a lot of people weren't big fans of the release. I think they got it wrong. I think when I got to see everything in person, the two things that were really, really noticeable that I appreciated. A was their investment towards producing pieces that were much sportier, but still felt luxury because of, they're using white gold or some kind of precious metal, like nothing in steel. And then B, I thought their use of color.
It was subtle, but
it was subtle, but
you could see
everything
it,
was the way that it was put together. It almost felt like there was like a new hire
Yeah.
in like the design department or someone, like not someone changed the mold.
I met the person who was in charge of the R&D and design.
Okay.
And she's this extremely talented woman. She gave us an old sketchbook to look through, and we could always tell what like her proudest work was, because every time she designed the watches that she put into production, she cut the actual ad out and pasted it in the book.
Fire.
And seeing all the crazy
How
stuff
long
that
has she been there?
I think 12 years now.
Okay.
12 years. Yeah.
She's on a roll.
She's a beast. She worked at Rolex before now.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I fell in love with a lot of the watches, and I thought that like usually when you think about Patek, or at least when we do, it's kind of like you love the watch, not so crazy about the strap.
Yeah.
The strap combos and the colors that they selected for these watches, I thought was on point
Yeah.
for the most
all
part.
the 6007s.
The 6007's bang.
Contrast stitching matches the hands, and
Yeah.
you get the color on the back
What
side.
really got me was the 5224R.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw this in person, and I'll share a picture, but it was just like, I was like, wow.
That watch is inspired by a watch that's in the museum. It's
Oh,
a
yeah?
pocket watch, and it's actually a Chopek.
Oh, wow.
It's a pocket watch it's not really, it's a pocket watch, but it's a big ass pocket watch.
Yeah.
It's a white enamel dial, and it has that same 24 hours on it. And even numbers are in black, odds are in red. And that's what it's inspired by directly.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, that watch is beautiful. When I saw that, like I saw it in person, I was like, this
I haven't seen that watch, but that was one of my favorites too. That's like top 3 for me.
And I will
Never
say
is.
the 6007s are far more impressive in person.
Yeah.
Like they just there's something about like even the case shape. It kind of looks like the 5212 case, but everything's just a little more round, and you can the white gold is like a really, really nice touch. It has like a shine to it, which plays with the watch in a way that's really interesting because it's so sporty. It's like you
Well,
want
you
it
get
to be
that,
steel.
Like that weird carbon printed strap to the
Yeah,
dial.
it's crazy.
Yeah, it looks like a sports car.
It does. Yeah, it does. That's
Yeah.
it's
like a luxury
good
sports
take
car.
on it. Yeah. Man, this was fun.
Yeah.
It's good to be back on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 56.
Yikes.
Yes, yeah. Thank you all for tuning in. We're just getting restarted.
Yeah.
I should say we got a lot of surprises for you this season. A lot of surprises. There'll be some events. There's some product coming. Won't spoil the secret, but stay glued. We got some things in the works, and we got a really big surprise launch that we'll be talking about soon. That we'll unveil soon, and this was something that was spearheaded by this gentleman here, and I'm very, very proud. I can't wait for everyone to see what you came up with, because this is awesome.
It just means more's gonna come.
I'm excited. Dana, much continued success to you. It's been awesome to see you blossom over the last 12 months, and obviously this won't be your last time.
Oh, definitely, I'll be back.
I know you will. And for those of you watching, you know where to find us. We're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, everywhere.
Apple,
TikTok
for the children.
TikTok for the children, and if Rashawn was here,
and definitely not the metaverse.
But
flopping.
that takes facts.
Big time.
But that takes the cake. We'll see you next week, episode 56. Deuces.